Welcome back to the Olive Oil Critic. I am so glad that you were here with me today, diving into another delicious extra virgin olive oil and learning about it from branch to bottle. Today we have such a delicious olive oil to enjoy, and I cannot wait to share it with you. It is from a vineyard in Tuscany. The Fanti family are amazing winemakers, and they also have just over 805,000 trees of olives planted on their estate as well. This variety specifically, Olivastra, is really special. One of the things that Italy can claim, which most people don't realize, there are so many claims to fame that every country likes to plant their flag, but the reality is Italy only has one true flag to plant when it comes to olive oil, and that's that they have the greatest biodiversity of olives, which means there's actually over 600 different varieties grown in Italy, which is really fascinating if you think about the size of the country and the number of varieties they actually have. It's incredible. And this specific variety is grown or started in the village of Saggiano in Tuscany. And so often you find it as Olivastra Sagginesi to give a nod to the village where it was grown. The trees on this property and what this oil is made from, they're over 200 years old. So these are old trees that have a story to tell. And if you think about the vineyard and the estate of the Fanti property, it's so idyllic. You have these beautiful old trees that have so much to tell. They have a story, and we hear that story in the olive oil itself. I love that they always say on their labeling that it isn't necessarily cold extracted, but extracted at room temperature. And to me, that's just authentic, because that's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be refrigerated or extra cold. You won't get any yield at that point if you make it too cold, but no additional heat is added. And because of when they harvest, middle of November, it is quite chilly out, meaning that this oil is definitely under the guild of cold extracted. But again, them putting room temperature on the label and just brings an authenticity to me, which I really appreciate and love. Of course, because these trees are so old, there isn't a mechanical means of harvesting them. So these are all hand harvested olives, and they're harvested quickly, of course, by hand. They're climbing the trees, they're in there, pulling the olives down and then keeping them in well aerated boxes. And even so, it's less than 24 hours from pick to press, which is what needs to happen to create a really good quality extra virgin olive oil. So again, they do their best to keep the pick to press time as short as possible, with the challenges and just reality that they're dealing with this really old grove with really old trees that are massive. They're massive, old, beautiful trees. All right, well, let's give it a taste and see what this beautiful Olivastra tastes like. Oh, it's actually quite delicate. I'm surprised. I expected it to be a little bit more vibrant on the nose, but it's so artichoke forward. Lots of fresh cut grass and definitely artichoke forward. And interestingly enough, this olive specifically does have a low fat content, meaning that it does have a lower yield. And so I'm guessing that they're letting it ripen as long as they can to be able to ensure that they get a good volume, but still a really high quality oil. It's so creamy, rich, round. I had a hair in my mouth there. Artichoke comes through on the nose and in the center of the palate, and it's so herbaceous. Oh, and there's the pepper. It's like a pink peppercorn. It's bright and light and almost like a hint of cinnamon, in that like it has a touch of a burn, but it's not overwhelming. And then you just get this beautiful round flavor. This oil would be incredible with fish. I would love to see it on sea bass or cod, even halibut. Poached halibut in this would be incredible, because it's so not necessarily mild. I would say it's a medium intensity, but it has a beautiful body to it. It's round, it's light, it's not overwhelming, but would pair perfectly with a fish or anything light. I'm just thinking of like honey roasted parsnips would be delightful with this as well if you wanted to cook with it. Again, I'm thinking of like a delightful little tomato salsa to go with a poached halibut. And this being what the poaching liquid would be incredible. There's so much versatility with this oil because, again, it's full of flavor. It's really round. It's bold and bright, but not overwhelming. It's very subtle in the way that it shows up on the palate. It also doesn't feel very viscous, but it's not greasy at all. It just, it's like it almost disappears and it just kind of integrates itself into your taste buds, which I really love because I can tell that it's there, but it's not oily or thick or chewy like some oils can be. Mm. This is a beautiful oil. And it's just such a privilege to taste an oil off of trees that are so old. They have a story to tell, and it's a beautiful one. This oil would be so versatile in so many cooking applications, and I just love the body that it offers. And you can tell that these are not young, inexperienced olives. They know how to show up, they know how to create beautiful harmony on the palate, from aromatics all the way through until the peppery finish on the back. It's so herbaceous, it's so round. Again, lots of artichoke, lots of those fresh flavors, and I just want to go make lunch now and put some of this on it. It's tasty.